Welcome to Chronic Combat Conversations, a live look at our best bets, picks, and predictions for every UFC event. With your hosts, TV Scouting MMA, and we had a little switcheroo. The Guru is off in Mexico, Cabo time, so we had to make a quick call for a pinch hitter here, and who better than Ben the Bane Davis? So, I mean, listen, guys, to give a proper intro here, please make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. But if you're already on YouTube and doing that, pop on over. We got youtube.com/C/Ben Davis the Bane. And you see how it says over there, it says subscribed up in that top corner. If it doesn't already say that for you, what the fuck are you guys doing? Make sure you're doing the right thing. Follow our man Bane, because when it comes to the fighter interviews, you're not going to get someone who gets someone to be their self as much as our man Ben the Bane Davis. Like at media day, at all the interviews, PFL, like seeing him in person, like everybody asks the same old questions, the same old thing. It's like the one person who gets the fighters to laugh and all of the other people on media row to laugh with their question and the responses. It's Bane, man. And he's a man of the people. Make sure you're following him, because, like, honestly, if you're following us somehow and you're not already following Bane, like, you're definitely fucking up. So yeah, so just make sure, of course, man, but make sure you like and subscribe everywhere. We're all over. But Bane, any words before we get into this, my man?
Yeah, Guru being in Mexico is code for I fucking shot him. I assassinated him. I wanted his co-host position on this show. He's gone. He's not coming back. He's buried in an unmarked grave, TB.
Wow. So Bane actually got Guru's login, and he's been doing this all like Zero Dark 30 mode. Oh my God.
So it's it's an invasion. Talk about invasions, though. I mean, dude, we've got Arnold Allen invading our fucking country right now.
Oh my God.
Trying to, I don't like it. I don't like it.
Paul Revere, sound the alarms. We got
a red coat.
Ride for America.
He's legit. He looks like a lobster. You know what I mean? He does fit that 1700s description.
Oh my God. Well, without further ado, we're off to a banging start, man. We got Calvin Kattar versus Arnold Allen, UFC Vegas. What is it, 63 we're up to? Holy shit. Yeah, so I mean, Justin, great question. What the heck? You guys on so early? It says chronic in your means late night, doesn't it? Not technically doesn't mean late night, just means we love the chronic. It means it's always happening. Also, we had to have a little special guest today, and hey, man, I'm a flexible guy on Wednesdays. I keep my schedule open on podcast days, so just in case anything happens, man, here we are. I got the dude, Ben the Bane, in the house. So, Justin, thanks for joining us at a random ass time that we hopped on. Make sure you retweet. Make sure you tell all your friends. Throw a like on it. And tell us who your best bet is today, because we got Calvin Kattar at plus 100 defending America and their integrity.
The he's our true patriot right now.
Yeah, because Arnold Allen, he's, as Bane is saying, man, Arnold Allen coming in and he's invading the apex. Vegas, can you hold back Arnold Allen? I mean, listen, Calvin Kattar, he's got a 3-inch height advantage, 2-inch reach advantage, 1-inch leg reach, and he's plus 100 to Arnold Allen's minus 120. The over 4.5, minus 140, under 4.5, plus 110. I'll give you guys a quick peek, just like a full screen at the stats here. Like, let's see if anything really catches your eye. And I think at the end of the day, it's like, they seem pretty even overall. It's just like Calvin Kattar eats a fuck ton of strikes, whereas Arnold Allen, like 70% defense at distance. The thing is, though, is he going to be able to get that wrestling off against Calvin from the, Boston Strong, or, what's his
Boston finisher.
Yes.
Calls himself the finisher, baby. Let's go.
So, I mean, Bane, you seeing a finish from the Boston finisher in this fight?
I'm not. Here's why. And I think that the lines themselves indicate where many bettors are thinking with this one. Over 4.5 being a favorite, minus 140. Each guy is a decision machine. Calvin Kattar, 11 finishes, 11 KOs. I think he's got 2 submissions on his record. So he is a finisher to his credit, but he's also got 10 decisions. Arnold Allen, within the UFC, has been a decision machine. and not a very strong one at that. I mean, there's a lot of criticism that he's faced in the past with his gas tank. I would say he isn't the most volume striker of all time. I think the Sadiq Youssef numbers were like 23 significant strikes with 29. I mean, it was very low round for round. And I just think that this is, I don't want to say a bit much too soon, because he's been in the UFC for a number of years. It's about time that Arnold Allen does face these elite fringe guys. Like, it's his time. But I don't think that he has enough tools to really figure out Calvin Kattar in a 25-minute setting, especially because he's never been in the spotlight before. Kattar has on many occasions with, I would say, more well-rounded opponents. Holloway, Chikadze, Josh Emmett. Even when he faced Zabit Magomedsharipov, that was a 15-minute affair, but Zabit mixes it up, in my opinion, way better than Arnold Allen. And so while some of those fights didn't really go Calvin's way, obviously Holloway pieced him up significantly. I think that whole stat right there about strikes absorbed per minute, that's pumped up to 7 because of Max Holloway. So I don't know, you know what I mean, TB? I don't know if it's indicative of all of those striking stats. I don't know if it's indicative of fight per fight, because so much of it was that 1 5-round beating. I don't know. The interesting thing is you see plus 100 for Calvin, just money line. That's been dumbed down to minus 105 on DraftKings. Wow. So there's a lot of action midway through this week coming in on the New England Cartel member. And I think for good reason. Like I said, this is just a guy who's been at the top. He's fought the best. And Arnold Allen, strength of schedule, not entirely there. Dan Hooker's good. The way that he finished Dan in the first round, that's excellent. But he got clipped in that combination. Yes. He got dropped to a knee. And I think that if you get that wild against a guy like Calvin Kattar, who's as crisp on the feet as we know, you're going to eat an elbow. You're going to eat some big hook. And I don't know. You look at by KO at plus 380 for Calvin Kattar, plus 380 for KO against the guy who's never been in a 5-round affair. And that's the thing, is like Josh Emmett, it was a bit of a different conversation because Emmett's power punching. I think that nullified a lot of the offense and the volume from Kattar. I was sad. I don't think that he lost that fight. So he's arguably 4 in his last 5, and I think he's going to get another win here this weekend. I
like that, man. So I agree with, oh man, you told me that your analysis for this card, maybe as the fights go on, it won't be so great, but dude.
This main event, I went top heavy, bro. I went top heavy. It's going to drop off.
Oh my God. I was like, well, damn. I mean, you went and took the words out of my mouth, damn, across the border, man. And you know, focusing on that finish, a hooker. I mean, those winging hooks, it was like, have you seen, I saw someone posting, like, have you seen that video online of like the guy in the haunted house, like, dude,
Alex just posted that one the other day. Yeah, it was that same exact finish. And Hooker, you know, stylistically, that works, but it's not something you can replicate against Calvin Kattar, especially over 5 rounds. No. I think that Calvin's going to start slow like he kind of does, get his reads down. Arnold's going to get uncomfortable because of just the amount of time that he has to work with, and maybe I don't know. I just don't see why people are betting Arnold Allen outside of 18-1. And this is something you said earlier, I think yesterday, and I was like, I completely agree. There's nothing here, in my opinion, in his game plan, his arsenal, his training, his sparring partners. There's nothing that would, in my mind, give confidence. And that's tough to say because obviously Calvin's coming off of a loss. Arnold's on this great win streak, but you know, if you just look a bit deeper, and then here's the prop that I like to watch: KO decision. Right, you do the double method on DraftKings. Okay, that's plus 110. That's plus money right there. And I'm like, dude, that's I'll take Cal. I bet him at plus money line, but I'm like, dude, he's either gonna get a KO or he's gonna get a decision. Yeah. So hammer that fucking line all day.
I love it, and you know what, Calvin Kattar, it's like, when he goes to stuff takedowns, I just don't see Arnold Allen being able to successfully implement his grappling at any point here. I don't think he's faced anybody like Calvin Kattar, who's so explosive in the way that he shoots back his hips. You don't even get a chance to grab onto a single leg. So unless you're pushing him back to the cage and grabbing onto a body lock, which, once again, good luck. I mean, Kattar's going to throw elbows. He'll clip you with combos coming in.
And he'll circle out. His footwork's so good. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So at the end of the day, like, you're right, man. In the hour since I updated these lines, Calvin Kattar has gone from that plus 100 now minus 105.
Is it? Dude, is that insane? Seriously. Already, it's fucking coming in quick. And there's another fighter on this card where the line is actively moving, and you already tweeted about him today, so I can't wait to get to it. But you know, the reality is, you talk about the grappling of Arnold Allen. Kattar's stuffed 21 of 23 takedowns. Against, I would say, better people, better takedown artists. I like Arnold Allen, but he just doesn't seem well-rounded enough or effective in one singular area to disrupt Calvin Kattar. It takes a lot to beat Kattar. It really does. And Josh Emmett, I respect him, but I like Josh, but he didn't fucking beat Calvin Kattar.
No.
If you're going to beat Kattar, you just have to be a lot more than I think what Arnold Allen offers. And I think that Allen can get to that point. Like I said, he's been around for a couple of years, but he's still very young. He's still developing.
Yes.
So
exactly. And I think, Kattar has taken a lot of strikes, all that stuff, defensively, but I just don't think Allen has the same type of output or damage potential that a lot of the guys Kattar's faced recently. And overall, as you said, like, he could start out looking nice, but I just think as this fight goes on over 5 rounds, I think we're going to end up on the right side here. And even if you want to take fights to start round 4, that should be like the lock of all locks to put in your parlay. Like, I don't see either of these guys finishing each other within 3 rounds,
It's interesting because, like, for how much I have spoken against Arnold Allen, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't think I've said really a single positive thing. It is that funny mindset where you're like, okay, well, I'm still not going to bet inside the distance. You know what I mean? Like, it's interesting that way. But I don't know. The other little note that I had for this one was, like, just the experience level. Again, I've talked about the 5 rounds, but just in general, Arnold's amateur debut was 2010. Kattar's been fighting as a pro since 2007. So there's just that, again, that really tangible difference in combat sports experience. And I don't want to get too nationalistic by any means, but you talk about England and some of the disciplines that they aren't strong in, grappling maybe, or several other areas. Kattar's benefited from being in New England, where there's so many fantastic gyms and promotions and sparring partners and just bodies for him to get experience, and that wealth of knowledge there in that region, I think trumps anything that Allen can bring into this one. I love father-son combat sports teams. You know what I mean? I respect it a ton, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. And I think that it's going to be a win-win for everybody. Arnold's going to get a great learning experience.
I agree.
And I think Kattar's going to get back on track with a main event win.
Okay, yeah, and you know what? I think it's interesting. I actually said to Guru earlier, I was like, speaking of father-son, like, coaches and whatever, I was like, this feels like the Aspinall Blades matchup almost. Like, as far as, like, the up-and-comer in one division facing, like, the established guy that's maybe taken a few L's at the top. But and it's a similar line type of dealio, like, where it flipped. The one guy started as the dog, the English favorite versus the, once again, not trying to get too nationalistic, but actually on
but the Americans are going to win.
But on FanDuel, on FanDuel, it's still plus 100. So as we sit here live on air, I am throwing down a Calvin Kattar 2.5 unit play myself, and I'm going to be talking to Guru about what we end up doing as we get off streaming. And the question, what up, guys? Where's Guru as Prince of Mischief? What's going on, my dog? Yes,
I took him
Bane
out back.
killed him.
I bounded his hands and shot him in the head.
Yeah. So shout out chat, guys. Thank you. Make sure you're hopping in with your best bets and everything. But yeah, Guru in Cabo, in Mexico, on vacation, having a great time. So we got the G in the house. But moving on, we got our co-main event. I think we did a great job breaking down that main. And now we got actually what looks to be another great fight, another one that I was tweeting out about, and Tim Means versus Max Griffin.
This is what I was talking about. The line's already coming down on the Means side. I think that people are really respecting, experience. Each guy has a ton of experience. Each guy has a ton of losses and wins. So there's really not anything you can say about the experience. But Tim Means at plus 160. It's more about fading Max Payne Griffin than it is about Tim Means, more so than anything else. Griffin's won in his last 4. He's lost 6 decisions in the UFC. Not a huge submission threat, and 6 of 13 losses for Means are subs. You just saw last time out the Bravo choke with Kevin Holland. So I feel if you're on the feet and you're striking with Tim Means, he's going to be that more consistent worker. He's going to keep that jab in your face, and I think he's going to be able to cruise to a nice decision victory. Max has power. He comes in with that power, but I just don't see a veteran like Tim Means necessarily getting caught with it. And if he does get caught, I'm confident that he'll be able to recover. The over 2.5 is like a minus 160.
Yes.
So I think that that's probably a better play than Eddie. Because again, like you said, they're the same fighter. When you look at it, there's so many similarities. So I would just say, yeah, don't bet either guy. Just go over 2.5. Stick that in a parlay or just bet it straight.
Fight goes the distance, minus 135. And I want to play Tim Means at plus 160. I definitely don't want to play Max Griffin at minus 190. But I think the smartest thing at the end of the day is fight goes the distance, minus 135. Yep. If you want to save yourself a little bit of roundage, just in case something happens at the end, over 2.5, minus 165. Jew, what's going on, my dog? What's going on? Thanks for joining at this crazy time. We're getting started. I love it. We got all the regulars still popping in. Love to see everyone in the chat. And
it's so funny. When you literally look at the stats, it is almost exactly the same on each side down the entire way.
It's crazy. So like we'll go full screen real quick because like one guy like Tim Means looks like he has this crazy striking advantage and Max Griffin looks like he has this like crazy grappling advantage. But at the same time, it's like you look individually at each of those stats and I got to figure it out to where it's like orange instead of red and green here because like everything would just be orange instead of red and green over here. Like it would just be so close in every department. So I think even fight to be a split decision. I think that would be a really interesting bet. So I'm just curious because simply like both these guys have the same type of thing where they can work in some offensive wrestling, but they really don't unless things are really like, they'll try to grind on you more than anything else. So, what about the durability? So the question is like, Max Griffin, he was gassing out big time at the end of his last fight. Whereas like Tim Means, if he loses, he's getting clocked. And then it's like, is he getting subbed or finished on the feet, So, I guess Tim Means what I've seen though, is like, he can eat a few big strikes before it gets to that point. And Griffin,
which is why a lot of the losses are submissions.
Exactly.
I can't say majority, but almost half of his losses come by way of getting dropped, getting subbed, or just messing around on the ground. So in terms of like durability on the feet, I think it's great. And Max, I don't see him putting Tim in those positions to look for a finish. I think each guy can maybe touch up and stun the other, right? TV, we talk about these guys. They're strikers. I wouldn't be shocked to see one of them get rocked, but this feels like just a back and forth, a tit for tat, and one guy's just going to edge all 3 rounds. I'm more confident on the Mean side, but again, I like that play. Fight goes the distance.
Yeah. And so the Guru been buried in Mexico drug thing, I suppose. Max is durable, but his gas tank sketchy, exactly like we were saying. Thank you, Jew. Justin, stop taking the Bryce Mitchells and Tim Means from capturing Gators. Yep. Max gonna pressure him for sure, but I think actually, Tim Means has a solid set of footwork as well. Like I think they're just the same person. It's like it's like
good matchmaking. I guess it's good matchmaking.
I told Guru, I was like, even if it's not the most pretty fight, I think it's going to be a good fight. And split decision plus 500 either way. You know what I mean? Like just the fight to be a split decision. It could be a fun. What would Guru call that? A little grandma's couch cushion?
Yeah, that's a nickel. That's a nickel right under grandpa's recliner.
Yeah, exactly. So damn man. All right, great. So I think that one sums up that fight. And oh boy, here we go.
Here's where my analysis drops off.
Oh boy. All right, yeah, things start getting sketchy, huh? Well, Cortez, Acosta, and Jared Bandera. Oh boy.
Here's the problem. Now we talk about the Dana White Contender Series fade. I'm a huge proponent of fading these Contender Series guys, but I can't fade this kid because Jared Bandera has lost like 4 of his last 5 or something like that. He's been finished in almost all of them. And this guy, Waldo Cortez Acosta, by KO is minus 105. That prop has been plummeted into the earth's crust. People are very confident. I think he's finished his last 2 or 3 fights by KO. And I anticipate the same thing to occur. He's going to walk in here and I think just fucking kill Jared. Jared. I like Jared, but Jared, no. But like at 12-9 overall and the lack of success he's had, I can't fade the Contender Series guy. I'm going with Waldo, and I would say inside the distance is probably the smartest bet.
Okay. See, this is where we start diverging. I'm going crazy, man. You're
going to bet on Jared?
I am, but it's like it's reluctant. It's reluctant. What I am thinking, however, and something I saw, shout out Danny Lags, the capper out there, a former, friend of the show, baby, because over 1.5, we're looking at minus 130. I think that we could see some clinching and some sketchiness before Jared eventually gets finished potentially. I
wouldn't
see the
be.
point.
It's
I see
heavy.
the
It's
point.
heavyweight MMA. It's
It
low level
is.
heavyweight MMA. So I
It
wouldn't
is.
be overly shocked.
But then it's like I'm also thinking, well, hey, Jared, I mean, he's shown the ability to have volume and cardio, just like not the ability to fight with any type of real game plan. So that's where it gets real sketchy taking the money line here. And like, if anything, it's like you gotta almost do like Vandera and over, or like Vandera decision for plus 500. Once again, we're talking nickels, dimes out here, and we're not talking
Yeah.
full units or anything. But trying to find a way to fade the narrative in this fight, as I always would like to do. And I think that over 1.5 is going to be where I end up on an official play. But don't be surprised if I'm posting a little sprinkle on Vandera that I can't convince Guru to come around on.
I think this fight's one where you hit a couple angles, right? You just try to hit as many different spots as possible and lay just some pennies here and there, because I can see every outcome. I can see Waldo nuking him within 10 seconds. I can see Vandera using the veteran experience, the UFC experience, finding his way to a decision win. I don't know. I mean, this is probably one where, would you say it's just smart to avoid? Would you say that one? Yeah, don't even bet on that one.
We're a betting show, so we kind of got to give you some ideas.
We have to talk about it,
but listen, Jared Vandera shows up to the press conference. He's going full. He's got the mustache. He's saying, I want a large farva. I want a liter of cola. Like, he was having fun there. He was dropping movie quotes. So, like, it's the last fight on his deal, back against the wall. But, yeah, Guru doing a business deal with the Salamancas. Shout out. So parents name him Waldo, who's
the dude you find and family matter.
Vandera by spinning head kick, yes. And just by touching gloves, no Vandera TB. Yeah, he probably is concussed at the moment, if I had to guess. But Vandera he is training at Kings now instead of Quest. So he talked about actually kind of getting beat up in the gym every day instead of like fighting a lot of people where he was kind of the top dog and like, worried about people's consistency. So, like, once again, am I leaning into the narrative of Jared Vandera too much?
You're getting sucked in. It's a black hole. Yeah, it's a black hole, and you're getting sucked in, TV.
Oh no! It's like, am I drunk off red wine or Jared Vandera's narrative? That's the question. Hopefully, we'll see what actually happens. But this next fight, I think we're going to converge back. Hopefully. Yeah. Because we got Josh Fremd versus Tresean Gore, and Fremd is the favorite at minus 155. The dude opened in like the minus 200 range. And Gore plus 135. I mean, listen, let's just say that Brian Battle fight, Gore showed that he had zero output. And then in the Brundage fight, he showed that he could only throw in like single or maybe 2-punch combos. But then he started leaning into those leg kicks, like really leaning into them, and started throwing them blind. And then next thing you know, he gets caught with a counter and it's lights out. Just as you think Brundage is starting to gas out from all the grappling exchanges. And like, hey, Gore actually does a solid job stuffing the takedowns and staying on his feet. I will say, like, good enough in that regard. And that's where you see Tresean Gore does, technically on statistical paper have a grappling advantage over Josh Fremd. But Josh Fremd also faced Anthony Hernandez in his first UFC fight. So holy fuck. But Fremd also landed a couple takedowns in there, and he had some scramble time. He had a little control time. So, I mean, Fremd, like, listen, man, I'm impressed that the dude goes the distance on like less than a week's notice with a guy like Fluffy, who we saw him finish the power bar. You know what I mean? Like,
dude, yeah, Anthony Hernandez is an animal.
Yeah.
And it's hard to bet against the guy like Josh Fremd, who's 100% on his takedown, attempts. He's never missed on a takedown attempt. And that the reality is, and I think the chat's echoing this a little bit, I'm really not that impressed by Tresean Gore. I didn't see a whole heck of a lot during the tough season. Didn't see a whole heck of a lot in his first 2 UFC outings. I just feel he's pretty incomplete. And while Fremd's a younger guy, I think he was knocking on the UFC's door for a longer period of time. You know what I mean? And that's, dude, Prince brings it up perfectly. Tresean Gore talking about being a double champ and the arrogance that he's walking to the octagon and then is like the worst fighter on the card. It's tough to bet on a guy moving forward, like that, because I don't know where that mentality is. Does he still believe he's the best in the world, double champ, triple champ
Oh
possibilities?
God,
And does that cloud his ability to evolve inside the gym, right? He's so into his own asshole that he's not really thinking, okay, this week I'm going to learn how to set up these leg kicks better. This week I'm going to manage the cardio better. This week I'm going to actually learn how to throw more than 2 punches around. Like it's hard to bet on a guy like that. So give me Fremd at -155. And I don't know. I don't really want to mess whether it goes the distance or not. I'll just take money line with Fremd because I'm not too familiar with either guy. But I like Josh's. I like his name more.
All right, yeah. I mean, listen, I think Fremd is going to be leg one of my best bet parlay this week. I think the -155 is ridiculous value, so I'll probably be betting him straight up as well. But just to get that coveted plus money that I know Guru is just salivating over in his grave in Jamaica.
It is. He's dead. Yeah.
So keep an eye because I don't even think I need to really go for a prop here because I think I'm so dead set on the side. But yeah, that'll bring us on to our next fight. We've got Dustin Jacoby versus Khalil Roundtree. And this fight, Dustin Jacoby's last fight, that was kind of out of character for him. No, I mean, he flatlined, what was it, Down Jung, right?
Down Jung, yeah. Big right hand on the temple. Jung went down. And, Jacoby looked great in that one, too, before that finish. I mean, he was winning that fight. Down Jung was pressing forward and commanding the cage a bit more. But Dustin showed that kickboxing experience. And I think in this one, I don't even want to fucking mess around with a single fighter. Does not go the distance. I would say does not go the distance. Khalil Roundtree Jr. has the most you don't know what versions are going to come in. It's either going to be a world beater, future champion, or it's this guy got flatlined by Johnny Walker in 8 seconds. You know what I mean? So it's tough to know what version of Khalil walks in here. But Jacoby has been a consistent guy in this. I think it's his second stint in the UFC, right? Since returning to the promotion, he's looked great. In fact, that fight with Iwan Kudalaba, who is a big test for a lot of these middleweights, I think that's like that fringe level guy who's that gatekeeper in some way, shape, or form. I liked what Jacoby was doing a fucking ton. So give me does not go the distance. I think this is going to be a violence weight fight. I think this is probably going to be fight of the night. Either way, this one's not going to the judges' scorecards.
I like that. I like that a lot. And you can see the over under 1.5. So yeah, they're just saying this fight doesn't go the distance, but when is it going to happen?
Right.
Yeah. So for this fight, I mean, damn, man, I'm thinking I'm leaning towards the Roundtree side just because if I'm expecting violence and I get plus money on a guy that I think is capable, I lean that way. But at the same time, man, Jacoby, ever since his return to the UFC, I mean, he's just been a different level type of guy. And at -170, maybe I'm not looking at the money line, but I think if anything, if I was going to play the Jacoby side versus the Roundtree side, I think that would lean me to take me to lean to the over 1.5. So Guru misses us all. He'll be back next week. He says, I'm convinced that's Bane logged into Guru's account.
That's me typing over on the side here.
Yeah. So give me Jacoby to wear down Roundtree. Yeah. That's kind of where I'm leaning. I like Jacoby and over 1.5. The Chronic Combat Special plus 130, because I think the quick finish comes from Khalil. But Khalil has his power, like Josh Emmett, we were talking about with Kattar. It's going to scare him off in that regard. You know what I mean? Keep him back from Jacoby committing to his punches early. Sure. And I think that Khalil's defense is solid enough to where, I mean, his defense is 53%. So, that's not so bad for a guy that we think of as a wild swinging whatever. So, I don't think this is an Iwan Kudalaba type of deal where he's going to get leapt at in the first minute and be scared of the wrestling. But yeah, so that's where I think my ultimate play, as much as I lean the dog in this spot, I think there are better dogs to put your money on. Whether you go fight doesn't go the distance if you lean the dog, just to kind of secure it, and fight doesn't go the distance for this one is
minus 225. So
that's not so
really
bad.
That's not too bad. Yeah. But the value, I would say you want to get a little bit more specific. I like Jacoby over 1.5. If you want to go even deeper, and I know Guru likes that plus money. I like that plus money. Jacoby by KO is at plus 140. Roundtree by KO is at plus 275. I feel you could do some sort of fun little math and get yourself a nice way to hedge both sides and come out on top. Because,
yes,
I think rounds 2 or 3 feels like Jacoby might find that finish.
I like that. So, I think we did a great job on that fight. And was that the main card? Because
I have no idea.
Something like that, but who knows?
Yeah.
But please, we made it this far. If you guys haven't done it yet, just throw a like on the video. It means a lot. Throw a comment, let us know who your best bet is. Make sure you subscribe because we got the best guests, best bets, always free picks. I mean, we got Bane, filling in now going forward for the Guru, thanks to the cartel. So LOL, Ben is way more handsome. The Guru is still chiming in. We appreciate you, buddy. Hope you're having an amazing time. And Jacoby's second run is looking good. And yeah, dude. So now that we did that, we are moving along. We got Phil Howes versus Roman Dolidze, Mr. Steal Your Girl, right?
I know, dude. JP Buys has had the absolute worst last 2 years in existence. This is a really interesting one because we talked just moments ago about other dogs on this card that you want to maybe put a little bit of money at. I think Roman's one of them because when you look at Phil Hawes's last 2 outings, he struggled a bit with Duran Win. And granted, I mean, he was dominating. Duran had nothing for him, but you looked at some of the shots that Hawes took and the durability issues that once again presented themselves from a guy like Duran Win, who should be fighting like 4 weight classes below where he's fighting. And that's stunning Phil Hawes, even when he's dominating. The fight with Chris Curtis, one hand changes everything. And I don't know. Hawes has looked great before that, but these last couple fights, I just think about the gas tank. I think about the durability. And a guy like Roman Dolidze, 10-1, who's got a good spread of finishes, a lot of KOs. I think that there is some real value here in the dog on Roman Dolidze. And like you mentioned, dude, he's laying penis outside of the octagon.
Yeah.
We know that for sure.
Phil Hawes better hide your girl.
He's gonna knock Phil out and then fuck his wife.
Poor Cheyenne.
That's the Roman Dolidze approach to fighting. I'm gonna beat you and then become your son's father.
Oh God. So I mean, listen, man, that's pretty funny. We're aligning on this one once again on the dog here. Here we go. Roman Dolidze. I don't know. Maybe I got a thing for these Caucasus region guys or whatever, but or however, Caucasus. How do you?
Wait, where's he from?
Because you know how like the Caucasian, it's from the Caucasus region of like Europe and like between Eurasia or whatever. So like
just say
like Georgia.
White guys. Just say it white guys. TB.
Big time, I'm big time team white guys.
That's my betting. I would love to know historically, like what the actual stats are. If you just only bet white guys, what your return would be. That's the most racist betting line of all time. But I mean, hey, if it's making money,
no, for sure. Well, okay. So listen, I feel like I tried to fade Phil Hawes with fucking Oompa Loompa.
Duran Win.
Duran Win. I did. It was shameful. I'd like to apologize to the world. However, I need to take that same energy and like Roman Dolidze, he showed up his last fight and he was like, wait a second, I am violent. I don't just need to clinch guys along the fence. I can actually like throw punches and knees as well while I do it. Like, oh shit. Yes. So that's why Roman Dolidze's nickname is the Caucasian.
Roman, the white guy Dolidze.
Yes, exactly.
I love it.
Exactly. So
how original.
Listen, I'm Romanian, I'm Belarusian. I got all the same type of idea of background. So like, I got to represent my, my homies, I suppose. Right. But yeah, I like Dolidze to KO the poor man's Kevin Randleman. Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's not wrong.
Well, yeah. Listen, when you're going to dye your hair like that, at least make sure it's the good style that doesn't fall off mid fight. Isn't that what happened last time to Phil Hawes? Like his hair was like, by the end of the fight, it was like Carlos Boozer style. Like
it was red because of Duran Win's blood. You know what I mean? Like that's how bad Duran Win was doing. He straight up gave Phil Hawes a different hair color.
Oh my God, yes. So shit, man. So yeah, here we go. I mean, I think there's definitely Dolidze potential here. Whether he can, I think he can out-muscle him and out-cardio him, even though Dolidze doesn't have the best gas tank. I've seen him at least successfully go the distance and not look like he was going to die. And whereas, like, Phil Hawes had to use the clinch to survive against Dawkins, like, Dolidze, mutilated Dawkins in the clinch. So it just kind of tells me where either guy is going to stand in this fight. And, like, I would say, like, oh, maybe it goes the distance because, like, they could just grind on each other. But I don't know. Something just tells me Dolidze is going to land that big blow. Like we're tired of, fuck Phil Hawes, bring back Phil Baroni. Oh, Jesus. The guru is still hanging, man. I love it. So, yeah. So, listen, at the end of the day.
It's tasty. Over 2.5 at -110 is pretty tasty. But it's always weird for me to bet an over in a fight where, like Roman Dolidze's last one is a first round knockout.
Yeah.
So it's, it's difficult for me to go like over anything, you know what I mean?
No,
but we don't have the lines for Roman by KO, but once that gets released on DraftKings, I'm probably going to lay down some Dolidze finish.
I like that. Yeah. Well, we'll see. So next we have Andre, Mr. Split Decision in the Apex Arlovsky. His nickname is not Pitbull anymore. We have officially changed it to Split Decision in the Apex Arlovsky. Versus Marcos Rogerio. If you know how to grapple, you're going to submit me De Lima. But it's -225 De Lima versus +190 Arlovsky. What the fuck is going on?
Where is this confidence in Marcos Rogerio De Lima coming from? I'm very curious because Andre Arlovsky is old as fuck, but he was on a pretty good tear not too long ago. And like you'd mentioned, he finds his way to the scorecards. And sometimes he gets decisions that maybe he shouldn't have. So against a guy like Marcos Rogerio, who, 19-9, he's had some big losses at these moments where it feels like Marcos is going to come through the ceiling and announce himself to the heavyweight division. He loses. And against a guy like Arlovsky, who's gotten it done so many times, it is hard to bet. I literally wrote down Arlovsky decision. That's one prop that I might swing a little bit of action at because I don't know. I mean, tell me stylistically, but break this down a little bit. What areas does Marco really have advantages over?
Okay, so I would say basically what it comes down to is that I think De Lima is going to throw more volume, and I think he throws more potentially fight-ending strikes. But the issue is I don't think he necessarily, as I obviously put in leg reach for Andre Arlovsky's reach, so that's obviously not good. But Arlovsky's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage and a 2-inch height advantage. So De Lima, he is going to need to get inside Arlovsky, who, I mean, his distance defense as a heavyweight, it's only 59%, whereas like De Lima's defense is like 63%. So, I mean, you start looking at all the striking stuff and it's like, okay, like maybe I could see why, and then you're like, oh, wow, even the grappling, like De Lima goes for more takedowns. Like he held Maurice Green down for a whole fight. I mean, not that, that's that impressive, but exactly. Yeah. I mean, he's only landed 7 takedowns, but so is Arlovsky. They've each only landed 7. It's just De Lima's done it in 14 attempts and Arlovsky's done it in 21. I mean, the level of competition thing is real. And De Lima was a light heavyweight before he moved up and kind of like, beefcake 4,000 his way to the heavyweight division. I think, his potential still might even lie. He's 37 though. He's not ever going back down to light heavyweight. So realistically, if you knock out Andre Arlovsky, you justified your -225 price tag. So for me, I totally lean towards that happening, the round 1 knockout by De Lima. I just can't trust it on a money line basis. And they haven't dropped the props for me yet. So I'm waiting to even see what I could get a knockout or a knockout round 1 at. So it's like realistically at this point, you have to also be thinking like this fight, if it goes the distance, no matter who wins, it's going to be ugly, sloppy, and Arlovsky is going to turn it into a close fight. I mean, whenever Arlovsky has the size advantage, he's able to either clinch or keep guys at distance by switching stances and just doing awkward stuff with his movement and strike placement. So, obviously,
you talk about strength of schedule. I think that Andre Arlovsky over the course of his career has probably fought better guys. Obviously, he's been to the top. He's had the belt at one point. Granted, it was 800 years ago. But, he still has fought these tough guys. And like you mentioned, there is a decent size discrepancy. And during this conversation, Arlovsky's been pumped up to +200 now. You know what I mean? So it's like plus 200 for a guy that's been able to get it done on so many different scorecards against the person in Marcos who haven't been overly sold on. It's tough. It's definitely tough.
Round 1 is plus 275. Not enough for me. I need plus 400 or better. And it's not open on DraftKings, so I can't even play it. So at the end of the day, this fight is a fat old, what do we say? Pass. Or I'm sure Guru in the chat with the Arlovsky round 1 submission and grandma's couch cushions. But yeah, the knockout is
KO.
plus 425. But definitely likes the split decision prop. Anyone got a line on that? If it's like, knockout round 1 is plus 425.
That's not a bad bet. 425 for Marcos to KO him in round 1.
Yeah, why would round 1 plus 275 and round 1 knockout plus 425? De Lima's not submitting Arlovsky in round 1. That's not the way. Like, if he finishes him, it's going to be. So I'm confused why it's so different. But hey, okay, maybe that is more my type of idea. But yeah, the split decision prop also. I know the Guru will want to throw like quarter to a half unit grandma's couch cushion style. So there we go. So now, I think also they fucked up the placement on those heavyweight fights. I feel like you could have had Arlovsky de Lima on the main card and then have fucking Vandera versus Waldo on the prelims. But they're like, contender series must promote this shitty fight on the main card. Like, the fuck, man. Come on.
Dana's got his one love, and it's the contender series.
One love. That's what Guru's listening to on the beach right now. Okay, here we go. We got to the Iron Turtle. We got Joseph Holmes versus Jun-Yong Park. This fight, pretty interesting in my book. I came into it, I was like, oh my God, immediate max bet Jun-Yong Park needs to happen. Like, Holmes just not a great fighter. You know, I think Park is just he's going to be a better wrestler or whatever. And I'm like, damn, like Holmes is going to be 6 inches taller. He's got a 7-inch reach advantage. He's got a 5-inch leg reach advantage. His last fight, he starts the knockout / submission sequence. It ends up being with a knee to the face as Amadovsky kind of changes levels. And I'm like, well, the Iron Turtle, when he's lost, I mean, it's been by finish in the UFC, and over half of his career losses have been by finish, 3 out of 5. Whereas Holmes, he gets his wins by finish. So that's where I'm like, wow, how can I play a minus 240 here if I think like I'm not even so sure that Park like is able to finish him. Like, Holmes did go the distance but losing to Jamie Pickett, like, my word, like, let's just have a quick conversation about this young man. Like, we are very disappointed in you.
It's tough. And I think that the reality is, for me, Iron Turtle by decision is just the best way to go about it. I'm not overly sold on Holmes, and with the size, the physicality, I can definitely see how it could sway the opinion, but it's not like he does much with it. And a guy in he went on a trip with grandma.
I'm dying. Fucking Guru, man. He can't leave grandma alone.
He can't leave her alone. He stole her her cookie jar, bro. He took it down to Mexico. I think it's 4 wins by decision or something like that for fucking the Iron Turtle. And what is his name? Jun-Yong Park? How do you pronounce it?
Exactly. You actually did it. You got it.
There we go. I just think he gets done the scorecards. 11 for 20 on takedowns. I think that he's going to hold down Joseph Holmes and ride his way through the 15 minutes. Because of that length and the reach, it might be a bit difficult to get him down. But, I don't see areas in which Holmes can really do much better. So minus 240, I agree. That's a bit too wide money line. So I would just say once it comes out, Park by decision, that's really where I'd start hammering.
Love it. All right. Well, hey, I definitely agree. I feel like you got to go with your initial lean. And if you flip it, it just means you shouldn't bet the fight. But to me, I feel like that means I should just be searching for a prop because I'm a degenerate. So because it's not out on DraftKings yet, but once that Park and over or Park decision, like if I can get plus money somewhere, even by doing like Park round 3 or decision, that's going to be something I'm looking for, potentially. I don't know if it'll be an official play, but it'll definitely be like one of those, hey, I'm watching this fight and I need like at least $2 or like, the round robin method. Let me just go off for a second about this real quick, because no matter what sport it is, and I'm finding like basketball, NFL, UFC, the sport, No, but like MMA, you know, but if you're finding underdogs and you want to have a little bit more fun, like don't do this shit with favorites. It's really not as fun. But with underdogs, if you find like 4 to 5 underdogs that you feel like, okay, I got like a solid shot on like, you know, maybe half, you know, maybe all of them hit. But like if you put them in a round robin, you don't put too much money on like the 4-leg, 5-leg parlays, and you keep it tighter on like the 2 and 3. Like you can actually make some solid money if you go 3 out of 5 on your dog picks. So I recommend like, you know, go ahead and instead of just throwing together one gigantic stupid parlay, like do a round robin and like do it like all the single legs, throw $5 on. And then each of the like 2-leg parlays, throw $1. Each of the 3-leg parlays, throw 50 cents. Each of the 4-leg, like then you want to go to like a quarter or 10 cents each. Grandma's couch cushions. But like if you hit every single bet, like I did this with basketball the other night, I went 4 of 4 and I profited like $200 off of $30 down. So,
yeah, no, I've been watching your betting on the Twitter feed, and I've just been jealous as fuck as I'm losing my bankroll week in and week out. I'm like, fuck this guy. He's too good.
Oh yeah, you caught me. I am smoking that crack pipe out here. Oopsies. Nah, definitely on that chronic. But yeah, so here we go. We got as we keep cruising along here, we've got, what is this? Oh, okay, the last of our, you know, previously scheduled bouts, ones that we were expecting going into this week. And I think this is my lock of the night type of deal. Like shout out to Manpreet from the Lock of the Night channel. Got to give him the proper, you know, we were able to hop on there for the live weigh-in stream last week. Such a cool experience. We were smoking live with Manpreet late at night, just watching dudes weigh in. And Manpreet,
shout out to his dog Alfred. More so than Manpreet.
yeah, fuck Manpreet. We're talking about Alfred over here.
We want Alfred, bro.
Alfred's lock of the night. But yeah, so Chase Hooperman, short and sweet, is like Steve Garcia was at 155, getting absolutely mutilated by Mahashata and even getting dropped by his other opponents at 155. Now he's like, fuck, I'm Steve Garcia. I need to go down to 145. Because, you know, but then it's like, well, Luis Pena, my dog, he controlled you for how long? Luis Pena controlled you for 14 minutes. Charlie Ontiveros knocked you down 2 times at 155. And I get it. Charlie's, you know, he's kind of nice with it on the feet. But at the same time, man, like Chase Hooper, he might play around a little bit. You know, he's been playing around with Wonder Boy and all that. So maybe he wants to show like, hey, like, let me practice my range management and stuff like in a non-threatening Steve Garcia environment. So maybe we don't see the immediate takedown, but like Chase Hooper, just go watch the Luis Pena fight once. And that's all you need to know about getting a decision, let alone this dude just finished fucking Felipe Colares. Like, can we talk about how impressive that is for a second?
And was teeing him up on the feet. I mean,
oh my God,
striking improvements. Hooper looked impeccable on the striking domain. And the stat here that's weird to me, and let me know if this one was a
talk to me.
Takedowns, 8 landed for Steve out of 107 attempts. That's correct? He shot 107 times.
Wait a second. Chase Hooper. Yeah, that makes sense because I feel like he shot like 30 times on fucking
that's fucking bananas.
On what's his name? I gotta check. I'm gonna go into my Excel sheet though to double check.
If that's right, if he's shot 100 plus times in the UFC, in
5
3
fights.
Yeah, dude.
Wait, Chase Hooper. Yeah, right.
Oh, Chase has attempted 100 takedowns.
Yes.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That
destroys my whole point.
I know, but now I need to look into the. I
thought that was Steve, and I was like, bro, if you shoot that many times on Chase, he'll just wrap up a guillotine.
Oh yes. Well, I think so. Actually, I think to your point though about the improved striking and hurting Colares on the feet. What if we see Steve, my chin is glass and ass, dropping down to 145, get chinned by fucking Chase? Ben Askren is my daddy Hooper.
I wouldn't be stunned. You know, I think that Chase could have stopped it on the feet against Felipe if he really wanted to in that 3rd round, but instead, stuns him and then gets him down for the, I think it was a TKO, right? I don't think he subbed him. But he had Felipe covering up. And like you'd mentioned, Steve struggled with people that I don't really think you should be struggling all that much. And then you cut down 10 extra pounds. Like, I don't know. Is this Steve's like natural weight class? I feel like he's
I don't think so.
At his
His other
age,
fights were 155. Well, is Luis Pena 155, right?
I thought he was 145. He might
Or
be.
was
He
he?
might be
Oh,
lightweight.
ooh,
I think he's
that's
one of those guys
okay.
that can just flip in between.
Good
But yeah,
question.
no, Steve coming down to 145 for the first time against the Hooper, who has been working tirelessly on the striking, who's looked fantastic so far. Yeah, minus 260. I think Hooper inside the distance. I think Hooper.
Yeah.
Once the line comes out, I don't think we've got the props for it, but yeah, dude, I'll be sprinkling Hooper by KO and Hooper by sub.
Nice. So I'm gonna have that prop once they drop it. I'm gonna have Hooper straight up just because I feel like it's one of those ones where you need to be hammering the money line too, just to get like your straight play percentage up. And then also, like I talked about before, I found my second piece over here. So Josh Fremd and Chase Hooper, you throw them together, you get solid plus money. So let me get you the exact line on DraftKings with the minus 155 combined with
plus 124 with Hooper and Fremd.
Yeah, exactly. Look at that.
Love
I'll
that.
take that all day.
That's a 10 bucker right there. You slap 10 on it.
that's a wow. You're throwing 100 unit play on it. Wow.
I think I might have to do 100 units. I've got 50 cents in my DraftKings bankroll, but so Tush Bapine AZ.
What's going on?
We've got this up talking about some beef with Mike Oxhard regarding Hamzat Chimaev. Tush, hope you're doing well. If you could give us some more context,
don't know.
That would be great. I have not heard of the beef.
Yeah, I haven't either. So that's interesting. And then we got Chase Hooper in a pattern with win-loss patterns. Every time I've heard about a pattern recently, it's been broken. Like every time Alex B. Hunin is like the king of posting when there's a pattern. And every time I've seen him posted recently, it's gone like against that pattern. I'm not saying Alex B. Hunin is like the curse or, I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe he is, but, I'm just saying like every time I've seen that, I know that Alex is very good at digging up those nuggets. And every time that Alex posts it, it's been like, oh shit, like I need to like follow that trend. And then it's like, oh fuck, well I got burned. Once again, not Alex's fault, but I'm just saying maybe it's Alex's fault.
Hooper inside the distance plus 100.
Okay, thank you, Prince. I like that. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, for sure.
That's way better, dude. Minus 260 money line, but inside the distance at plus 100.
I'll
take it. I want us out. If you beef up the parlay that we just made between Hooper and Fremd, if you add in Cater and Carlos Mota Tizo, Cater's at minus 105, Mota's at minus 165.
Oh,
that's
baby.
Plus 600 parlay, which I like a ton. I like that a lot.
Four-legger, baby. Let's go.
We haven't talked about Carlos.
Well, here we are.
Yeah. Oh, is it up? All right, let's go.
Let's go. So Cody Durden opened at like minus 130. Mota was plus 110. I fucked up and I didn't bet him, and now it's minus 170. Like, fuck me.
Flipped completely.
Yeah. I love Mota, but Ben, you've got more experience. Like I've talked to, Mota, we're setting up future interview experiences, but to the man who's already had a nice interview experience himself, how about you give us a little background on what you think here?
So me and Carlos have been good buds for, I think, since like December of last year is when we started chatting. And the majority of our Instagram communication is voice messages because he doesn't speak that much English. And so he'll be like, let's go, Ben. It is my time. It is calm. And I'm like, let's go, Carlos. Like, that's the extent of our communication.
He's the best.
He's such a nice guy, and he's very powerful for that weight class. I think that Carlos packs such a big punch. And he's shown that his cardio extends deep into fights. I mean, when he fought Charles Johnson for the LFA flyweight title, that went into the 5th round, and he, granted was finished in that one, but he hung in there. He showed his durability and his heart. And then he gets a big first round KO over a accredited grappler, a Russian dude, to then in his second crack at LFA Gold gets it. I don't know. I like Cody Durden, but he's been finished quite quickly. I think 50 seconds against Muhammad Makayev. And I'm not saying that Carlos is going to go out there and get it done within a minute, but I do see Mota inside the distance a very likely play here because, dude, this guy has been working his whole life to get here. He almost had it in like February or January, whenever that first title shot at LFA was. And now it's here. I don't see him passing this up and losing here at all.
I agree. I think he's one of those really special prospects where if you followed his development and like his knockouts don't just come like from head strikes and stuff. Like that front kick to the body that he kept on posting that highlight over and over and how he had trained it and everything. It's like the dude has skills and he's in fantastic shape, always working, even when he had a long layoff due to COVID and struggled getting booked in matchups. And like, he's one of the first guys, like, so maybe I'm a little biased here, but he's like one of those first fighters that ever like followed me back when I was first like doing the whole TB scouting MMA thing. And we had like DM'd in the past, just like, hey man, like, good luck. And like, he obviously probably had no idea what I was saying and had to enter it in like Google Translator. His coach did it, but like, he would always send like the fist back and like, like always say, oh yeah, like, let's go, like same thing you're saying. So it's like,
he's just a good dude.
He's always been someone that connects with the fans and connects with the little people. And like, to see him succeed and also be like a talented fighter and a good guy and all that, like, I'm excited to see his debut and him inside the distance, man. I love that idea. And I think it's a live betting opportunity. Durden is a one-round gas tank type of dude. Come out, wrestle crazy, and then like struggle. So Moda, even if he doesn't look great early, maybe you hop in on a live bet. Also, maybe you could get that plus money back at some point. If not, I mean, it could just be a 60-second, like you're saying. Like, who knows, man? But
I wouldn't be shocked if Carlos starches him. Now, here's the only thing that concerns me, and this is when I put my objective hat on. As much as I love Carlos, this is a very short notice opportunity for him. I think he told me he was down in Brazil, right, training with his family and spending time with them. Then he gets this opportunity, comes in here on. I mean, you'd never know how much notice these guys have necessarily, but I know that he was in full vacation, relax, take a break from combat sports mode before this. So a guy like Durden, who has had such staggered results, I know is hungry to get back in the win column just as much as Carlos is. And you talked about that wrestle heavy approach. I praise Carlos's cardio, but if he gets worn on and if he's not in fight camp shape, if he's not at his optimal, I am somewhat curious to see what that's going to look like. I'm still quite confident on Carlos, but when I look at it objectively, that short notice call, we'll see. We'll see.
All right. So, yeah, I think it's nice to put the objective hat on and play with like a real approach every once in a while. So looks like for Chase,
TV's like, why don't you bring down the mood, bro?
No. But as I'm looking here, I put in Chase Hooper for 89 takedown attempts, where I definitely meant to put an 8 or a 9. So yeah, he had like 30 takedown attempts, not 111. Just to clarify.
I was like, what fight did he just spam takedown? But that is the case. Like, if you aren't trying to activate grappling against Chase, he will bring that fight to you. The guy had such an ability to get things into the ground, whether it be pulling guard or finding his way to the mat. The jiu-jitsu prowess, right? So yeah, I know we're talking about another fight, but Hooper inside the distance, it's still up on the screen, plus 100. Yeah.
Oh yeah, baby.
Slap some money on it.
Faux show. So I think this is it. This brings us to our final slap together fight. Grandma realized that she burned a few fights in the oven and she had a few other things in the freezer she was able to defrost and kind of like slap together to make sure we had a full meal for UFC Vegas 63. Because what we found in the freezer was Christian Rodriguez. He was already prepared. But Josh Weems, we were like, we found something in the back that I guess it goes with this dish, and like, it's kind
not
of
even in the freezer. This is something that had fallen. You were trying to put it in the freezer, but it fell behind the fridge. But it's still getting refrigerated by proxy to all of that cooling piping. So Josh Weems slipped way between the cracks, but here he is, 11-2, coming off of 2 wins, a submission over Mo Miller at plus 290. I'm pretty sure that's been beefed up as well. Plus 300. I don't know. Yep. I mean, I was like, Christian Rodriguez, I believe is coming off of a loss his last time out.
Yeah. So Christian had a debut loss to JSP, Jonathan Pierce, on like 5 days notice, but he went the distance with a guy that just grinds you. He outstruck him from distance, where you could see like Christian Rodriguez's stats. He's like 42% accuracy and 70% defense. Like, he beat Pierce on the feet, and he also had 3 submission attempts. So like, he had Pierce in a couple positions like guillotines and like other stuff where it was like, oh no, as I'm sitting there with my Pierce minus 380 parlay, I'm like, oh God. Yeah. It's like, you don't want to give someone too much credence in a loss, but it's like, once again, like we talked about with Fremd, on short notice against a big time opponent, that's one of those ones where it sticks out. And it's like, Josh Weems is now filling Christian Rodriguez's shoes from last time. And Josh Weems is submission dependent. His 9 9 submission wins, 1 decision. And then his 2 losses have been by knockout on the regional scene. Both of them.
It's tough because I looked at it. I know. I don't know why I'm going to bat for Weems here.
Okay, all right,
but I feel like I kind of want to take the stab at Weems, right? He's 11-2 coming into the UFC for the first time. We just talked about with Carlos, the debut, the desire to win. And again, those 2 knockout losses, they were a long time ago. It seems like he's shored things up significantly. And again, at Christian Rodriguez, a guy who he lost his UFC, I'm having a stroke. Loses the UFC debut, TB, and now he's beefed up to minus 365. I don't know.
Yeah. So, I get it, man. This is one of those spots where you want to take the dog, especially against a guy that's not as experienced, taking a new opponent on short notice. Weems is like solid enough is he out of a good camp though? I have no idea. I couldn't figure out from his Instagram what camp he's at. Do you know that? Or
he's out of the hashtag value camp.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I don't know anything about Josh Weems. I have no idea anything about him, but it's that same boat of dog or pass, in my opinion. Rodriguez at fucking what is he? One of the biggest favorites on the card, and he does not have a win in the UFC. That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. So this is one of those ones. Find maybe you take the inside, like the fight doesn't go the distance, which I don't think they even really have. I couldn't find an over under for this fight, so they're still like maybe it's on Bet Online. I just don't use those because I use DraftKings, I use FanDuel, I use BetMGM. So if anyone has a line posted, usually I just go to DraftKings because like everyone kind of just follows their lead as far as getting lines out. So at the end of the day, I thank you, I Swallow Cum in the chat. Beautiful name, but I'm guessing you're just trolling, but you left the comments, so guess who's winning this exchange?
I just put some money on Kattar round 4 and then Kattar round 5.
So I was actually thinking, going back to that one, as we get to the conclusion of our show here, make sure you guys are liking and subscribing. Follow us, BetMMA, Verdict, Tapology, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Same thing with our boy Bane over here. Make sure you're following, but like Kattar, I was thinking before and I didn't quite get to it. So now I'm looking the round 4, 5, or decision. That's kind of what I think is going to be my best bet as far as that goes. Plus 180 round 4, 5, or decision. So
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that plus 180. If you do a same game parlay, you do Kattar, you just do it by KO. It's plus 400.
Oh, baby. I like that. Okay. Okay.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, dude. So thank you, Daz. Thanks, Prince of Mischief, Justin, even I Swallow Cum. Thank you, Guru, for popping in. Thank you. We had a few new friends in the chat, dropping in, sharing their love, and we appreciate all you guys. And, we just hope that you go ahead, do a little like, subscribe. Yeah, just go Kattar Moneyline. I did. I threw $50 on Kattar Moneyline plus 100 on FanDuel.
Fair. That's good.
So I threw that live
by decision. I had Bilal decision.
I took Bilal Moneyline. That was one of the things that saved us. We had Bilal Moneyline. We had a few other things. So yeah, thank you guys. We really appreciate it as we cut away from all the graphics and stuff and show the beautiful Bane and his lovely
my shitty integrated camera on my laptop. I don't have a webcam. I wasn't able to get my my actual camera. So last week with 280, what was your guys' plays? Did you were losing until Bilal, or
okay? So basically, we had taken the dog approach, but Benil was not one of the dogs that we had, so that hurt. It was Chukagian. It was Volkan Oezdemir, and it was TJ Dillashaw that hurt us. But we had like 2 units, and 1 unit respectively on the other 3, and we had 3 units on Bilal.
There you go. So Bilal came up big.
So Bilal helped us out. Then also we had a unit parlay of Karol Hossa, Caio Bahalio, Armen Petrosian plus 190, 1 unit. Woo. So that cash for 2, huge. We had Islam Moneyline 3.4 to win 2, huge. So those, I thought I'm sitting there in the casino, birthday celebration. My girlfriend being so nice to me, apologizing that Piotr lost, even though she thought that he won. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. Like, and TJ's shoulder pops out, and I'm like, fuck, man. Like, I was like, you know what? Like, mid-second round, I said to her, I was like, hey, his shoulder is not going to get better. Let's leave. Let's go, like, find parking. Let's go to the restaurant. Like, we went to Barclay Prime. Shout out Kathleen, the best. She took care of dinner. We were in Philly. We found parking right in the nick of time as we were circling around. Thank God we left early. Fuck TJ Dillashaw for even taking that fight with the hurt shoulder. My bad for betting on fucking roided out TJ Dillashaw in the end, but that's just kind of like you get what you deserve, right? So so we did solid last week, and hey, this week I think we gave you that Fremd and Hooper money line. That's going to be like the Bahalio, Petrosian, Rosa play. Yeah. And then we got a few dogs we talked about also. So just follow our Bet MMA. Guru will be back in town Friday. We might go live on Saturday afternoon. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, so Bane, thank you so much for hopping on. Is there anything that like you felt we needed to touch on? Anything you were feeling you needed to promote? Anything you got going on you want to talk about, my friend, before we hop off here?
Well, I would say I'm doing a lot of media this week for the Jake Paul and Anderson Silva fight card. So be pumping stuff out. So stay tuned for it. It could be worse to be an Arizona fan. It's tough living in Arizona. It's tough being from Arizona.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, no, happy to be here, man. Always a pleasure to be on.
Yeah. So, hey, thank you so much, guys. And Guru, we miss you. I'm hoping you come back alive. But yeah, we'll see you guys next week, actually, on Wednesday before our breakdown show. We just scheduled an interview with Eric Nixick. So that'll be going live in between. I think we're going live at 6 o'clock Eastern. I think it was 3 o'clock Pacific, but we'll be posting about it. So Eric Nixick, we're going to have a nice short interview with, and then we'll have our normal breakdown show later at night. I think around the 8 o'clock hour. Our normal breakdown time. So thanks everyone for joining. Thank you, Bane, for hopping on, and make sure you guys are following all his content. Hopefully we're meeting up at PFL again, and stay tuned, folks. We'll see you soon.